Good morning, campers. Welcome to the next episode of Divine Feminine Talks. So, what we're going to be talking about today is very important. We're going to be talking about detachment and we're going to be talking about releasing the label. Incredibly important topic for divine feminists on a twin flame journey. But also, what I want to mention, I'm going to be speaking from a very generic awakening, growth, spirituality perspective. So if you are someone who you don't identify with a twin flame journey, but you are on a journey of growth, of alignment, of healing, that can be used for you as well. Excuse my little blankie. It's very cold today, and I'm a cozy little person. I hate cold. I love sun. And these days, truly, cold is the only thing that gets me out of balance. I am so centered that you can put me in the worst traffic, okay? With the most annoying people. I will connect to spirit. I will completely be unbothered, right? But cold is my ultimate trigger, okay? All right, so I have to have my blankie. Enough of the jibber jabber. Let's talk. We're going to start from detachment. And what I want to start from is that what I constantly want you to understand and remember as we go through this episode is that these are just words. These are just words. So we're going to be changing the narrative today, right? Because remember, you are an infinite being of light, okay, who came to this world to live a human experience. So this body is not constant, is not forever, right? It's very important, but it's the soul that's eternal. And words, labels, speech is something that is own to the physical world, right? To our physical existence. So I want you to really try to operate on a level of the energy. As I describe these concepts and certain concepts, remember that these are just words. What we want is we want to embody certain energy, right? So how do we detach? I'm going to be talking sort of a divine feminine on a twin flame journey, but if you're not and you want to learn about detachment, releasing the labor, so on and so forth, whenever I say detaching from your masculine, think about detaching from anything, any person, anything, because in the end, us divine feminines on a twin flame journey, we have to detach completely from external world, from physical world, not just from our masculine. It's just that the masculine is the hardest one to detach from, right? But when you talk about awakening, when you talk about your Kundalini awakening, your ultimate connection to God, your opening of your crown chakra, it means that you are connected to God, connected to universe, and you released all earthly attachments. So it's a universal thing for anyone who is on a journey of enlightenment. It's just that for us it's so difficult because this is that only object in the universe that is of same frequency. So we really feel that pull. So ultimately, it's not that big of a deal to it is, but it isn't to release, job expectations, abundance expectations, let it go, let it go, let it go. But that masculine is that one object that calls us in because it holds the other part of our soul, right? But I'm going to be talking it's easier for me to focus on that, but in reality it's the same mentality, it's the same strategy to detach from anything. So when we talk about detachment, we need to really understand and remember what I always tell you. In order to ever integrate something and embody something, you need to the very core understand this concept. So if you ever will detach, you really in your very core, mind, body, soul, heart level, need to understand what does it mean. So whatever means of understanding You have to understand it to ever be able to embody. And sometimes words, we talk about that as we move to, removing the label, but sometimes those words, it's just semantics. It's just, I call it that way, you call it this way. So let's focus on energy. Let's focus on the feeling. Let's focus on the vibration, right? So when we talk about detachment, what's very important is understanding of two concepts: connection and attachment, right? And I'm sure you've heard that infamous phrase, I connect, I don't attach, right? So something that everyone heard, but not many people truly understand. So what's the difference? It's very subtle on a level of words, but on a level of energy is very different. It's completely different. So when we talk about love, we're going to be focusing on love, right? When we talk about love, but not only, again, I'm not going to be repeating that every time, but whatever you want to connect to, idea, person, outcome, your highest, most abundant timeline, your soulmate, your twin soul, whatever, right? Whatever. When we talk connect, think about it, if this energy is, when I connect, it comes from a place of my soul. My energy, my unique frequency connects to yours, okay? When I connect, I come from a place of love. So when you truly connect to your divine masculine, you're coming from a place of love. You're forming the bond from a place of love, which means I love you. My soul sees your soul. There's nothing you could do for me not to love you. That love is unconditional because I see you for your frequency, for your uniqueness. I see you for your essence. I connect to that essence. It's not about your physical form. It's not about what you do. It's not about what you say. It's not about what you choose to yourself. My whole existence connects to your whole existence. When we talk about I love you and I connect to you, it's this energy of my heart is always with you. Nothing can separate us. When you truly connect to something or to someone, you build a constant bond based on love, based on frequency. We don't have to be in the same room. Damn, we don't have to be in the same country. My heart is always with you because I love you. This love is eternal. This love is unconditional. My whole frequency speaks to yours. This is what it means. I connect to someone. Coming from a place of love, we cannot lose each other because we've connected. Right? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. And again, it's going to be same with friends, with timeline. Timeline is also important. So think about this. When we say to you, divine feminine, connect to your highest, most abundant timeline, we say, really see in your mind's eye, this is my potential. This is how my life is going to look like on that timeline. This is what I'm going to do. This is my lifestyle. This is who I want to be. These are all my gifts activated, all my purpose manifested into that lifetime. I connect to it. I can feel it. It's already mine. Nothing can separate me from my king, from my timeline, from whatever that I truly connect to, because connection is based on love and is based on your frequency and the frequency of the thing that you're connecting to. If this is truly something destined, if this is truly something it's meant for you, you are forever connected. It is beyond this physical life. It is beyond this physical existence. It could perish and you would still be connected because it's love. It's frequency of love. It's frequency of true, it's frequency of true soul connection. Okay? Now, if we move to attachment, attachment comes from a place of fear. Not from a place of love like connection, but from a place of fear. Attachment is an earthly, physical thing. So it's not a connection of a soul, a frequency. It's a connection to physical, to what these eyes see, okay? Not this eye and this heart, but what these eyes see. So when you are attached to someone, side note, 95% of relationships on earth, when you are attached to someone, you say, I love you, but, and here's the key word, but I want you to be with me. I love you, but I want you to say you love me back. I see your physical existence, and this is where I attach to. It's not that I see your soul, but I see your physical existence, and I think, where are you? Why you are not where I am, right? Why you are not with me? Why you are not saying the words? I don't feel your frequency because I'm not connected. I'm attached. So I only see with the claws, I only see the physical aspect, right? So this feeling creates a fear-based bond with someone that is depending, your existence depends on it. So it starts to overwhelm you, right? Why are you not here? I'm not good enough without you. I'm not whole without you. And again, it's going to go for love, for your divine masculine, for abundance on your path, for a job, for validation, number of clients, number of friends, number of money in your bank account, number of followers, whatever. I don't see you. Where are you? I'm loving you so hard. Why are you not coming back? I'm trying so hard. Where are my followers? I'm working so hard. Where are my money? You are attaching yourself to something that exists only on the physical plane. And as we've established, this plane is not permanent. This plane will perish. Nothing lasts forever in the physical world. Thus, this attachment cannot be forever. It is based on fear. Okay? It is based on the vibration of fear. I fear I'm going to lose you. I fear I'm not good enough. And this is what creates codependency. Because that attachment, that feeling is overwhelming, right? It's overwhelming. How could I exist? I love you. How could I exist without you? Well, love is not about existing with someone else. Do you know what I mean? I hope I'm transmuting my energy through this video to you so you could actually feel the difference. Vibration of connection, vibration of love that never fades away, and vibration of fear, right? So when we are truly connected to our divine masculine, to our divine counterpart, we sometimes miss him. We sometimes, can occasionally feel sadness and separation. In the end, we do live this physical existence. And I've talked about this in another masterclass that I've done about how to survive separation, right? So there are certain aspects of that separation that you have to accept. You have to accept, I cannot touch you. And I live this human experience. And I wish I could touch you. I wish I could kiss you. I wish I could hold you. I wish I could fix you a soup when you're sick, right? But I cannot. It completely does not change my feelings towards you. It's this, I always, that feeling of I miss you, I wish you were here, it causes a smile. It doesn't cause tears. It causes warmth of love. It doesn't cause anxiety and impatience. This is the difference. And it's going to be very important if you're trying to understand these concepts. I recommend to you, if you watch me, you must have heard me say this because I repeat this like gazillions of times a week. That episode from Brian Scott, From Fear to Love, it will sort of a kind of help you to understand that difference, right? Love, connection is soul. Fear and attachment is the body. Okay, so what we really want to create, the objective of twin flame connection is to put us in a vibration of unconditional love. I spoke about this so many times in all of the previous episodes, in the one that talks about past lifetimes, in the one that talks about divine feminine and divine masculine energy. So if you've watched these, you must have heard me say one of the objectives of this journey is that we are here to restore the divine order, to remind people what love really means, what true connection really means. So when you are trying to, imagine and think about really embodying this energy, just sit down and think about the greatest love stories, the greatest love story of the biggest loves, that no time, no conflict, no war, no pain, no distance could separate them. This is true love. We have turned love into something very physical, into something, I'm going to love you as long as you're with me. I'm going to love you as long as you give me this and that. I'm going to be your partner as long as you're going to tick all my points of compatibility. This is not love. This is contract. This is codependency. True love can only exist, listen to this very carefully. True love can only exist between two people who are strongly independent and sovereign. Because as long as there's a gap in that sovereign energy of yours, there's going to be a slippage of codependency. True unconditional love can only exist between two people who are 100% comfortable in their sovereignty, in their existence, in their independence, and need no one. This is exactly why I always tell you that if you look at people, those people who jumping from one relationship to another, they cannot freaking hold 6 months without dating. Once they dump their ex, they haven't even signed divorce papers. They're already like with someone else, flirting and searching. Codependency has nothing to do with love. Perhaps they're feeling something that feels very lovey, but a true frequency of love, an unconditional love, it is not that. And a true divine feminine, you have to release that. You have to understand that. Part of your mission will be to emit this frequency. Some of us will actually preach and teach that as coaches, as readers, as psychic mediums, as shamans, as creator of communities, right? But some of us will have a completely different path. But we still have to constantly emit the vibration of that. Divine feminine, it's also going to be very important for you to go ahead and watch that episode when I describe divine feminine and distorted feminine. Distorted is attachment, is the neediness, is the greediness, is love me, show me how you love me, tell me how you love me, be with me. Codependency. True divine feminine, true connection is I am here in our garden of love that I have created for us through my journey of healing and returning home to myself. I will be here doing my mission, and I am forever connected to you, my love. I think about you every day with a smile on my face. I speak to you every day with a smile on my face. When I go for a walk, I eat a meal, I think about you. You're with me always. This is the other half of your soul. Once you find it, once you're activated to the journey, they will not leave your mind for a split second. I can promise you that. This is why you need to detach from the physical, right? So when we say you have to detach from your masculine, we are not saying that you cannot think about him, that you cannot love him, that you have to go ahead and start dating and look for distractions and forget about him, that you have to delete all his messages and all his photos. We are saying that you have to enter the mindset that when you think of him, it's a smile, it's love, it's the warmth of the heart, the other half of my soul. I love you. I hope you're well. And not the cry face. Oh my God, where are you? When are you coming back? Why won't you love me? Okay? There's a very important phrase that defines the difference between connection and attachment. And I believe it's something like, I'm not good at remembering quotes, but it's something like the difference is detaching from something doesn't mean that you don't own this thing, but it doesn't own you, right? So you will forever belong to each other. That red thread is the strongest thread in the universe. You will forever be connected. You will forever belong to each other. But when we say detach, it means that his physical existence, his physical actions, his physical endeavor, his physical choices, his physical quest that we've established in previous episodes, he has to embark on. Okay? Karmic patterns, karmic relationships, being in a matrix, all his physical existence does not influence your action, your state of being, and your physical existence. So it means if he is struggling with jealousy towards you, or with controlling emotions towards you, or with feeling intimidating towards you, and you know this, oftentimes it's caused by societal issue. You are still living your life. You're posting what you want to post, no matter what he's going to think and no matter what it's going to trigger within him, because, I mean, honey, I connect to your soul, but you got to manage that body and all the woundings and triggers around that body, okay? It means that you choose, when you take choices in your life, where you're going to live, where you're going to travel, where you're going to work, what you're going to do, it doesn't, your existence, right? Your path. His choices in the physical don't influence that. His choices in the physical don't influence your mood, don't influence your love. Whether he texts you or he has not spoken to you for 2 years, you're still in your happiness, you're still in your joy, you're still in your path. You're not sitting then and crying and whining. This is what we mean. Detachment means that you are detaching not from him, from his essence, but from when and the how. Detachment is the state when you understand we're on this journey together. Everything happens for a reason. We are forever connected. No one will ever be able to break our bond, to take away that love from us, to take away that gift from us. And no matter what happens in the physical world, I am living my greatest life. I am following the divine guidance. I am following my path. And I no longer do it because I want him back. I no longer do it because I know that I have to do this and that in order to get into union. It's this fail-safe point that you move past, that there's no turning back. Because there's a moment on this journey when, you know, he is your greatest motivation, and it has to be there. Exactly that. Everything happens for a reason. Why? Because this journey is hard, because this journey is long, because this journey is painful, because it puts you in a solitude, it puts you in a crazy land, it makes you think you're losing your mind, you're starting seeing things, hearing things, you get through activations. So if you didn't have a motivation, like the biggest prize that you can imagine, like literally that heart that someone pulled off your chest and took it away from you, the hell I'm gonna do it. Think about this. Take the masculine out of the equation, right? The hell I'm gonna do this. If you would offer me even the greatest prize, a mansion on Hawaii, okay? The best ideal career, whatever, think about whatever price and tell me that I'm going to get it if I'm going to go through the journey that I went through through the hell of my shadows, through ascensions, through activations, through dark night of the soul, for moments that I wanted to jump off the bridge because I could not with myself. No, thank you. I ain't doing it. We need this motivation. They are that motivation to us. They are that motivation. But there's a moment in this journey when you realize, hold on, wait a minute. But he is me and I am him. We're the same soul. He's not the prize. I'm the prize. And you start to detach. For a very long time in this journey, you push, but the moment he would come back, he would resign, right? So you start, it's very different, this journey for every feminine, but you start to have your routine, right? Let's say you work with a mentor, right? So you have your shadow work session on a monthly basis, or you have your shaman session with your shaman on a monthly basis. You are doing meditations, you are doing shadow work on a daily basis, you are journaling, you are thinking about yourself, you are isolating yourself from others to truly understand yourself. It's difficult, right? You are being pushed to start acting on your gift. So if, for example, if you're a medium like myself, you're being pushed to start to talk to spirits, to do mediumships, to learn your craft, right? To find divination tools that you're going to use. You're being pushed and pushed and pushed. And especially if it happens, and oftentimes dormant vessels, we are being awakened like somewhere when we already have established life. So it's starting over. It's this starting over. So it's uncomfortable. Healing is uncomfortable. Awakening is uncomfortable. Many things on this journey are uncomfortable, and we do it because we see him as a prize. So if he would come in too early, we would freaking quit because it's intimidating. It's uncomfortable. Maybe we would like be interested in these things, but we wouldn't have the motivation to push. And at one point of this journey, that motivation switches from him to you. You are the prize. You realize, I am the prize. Look at me. And you push for yourself. And even if you were to find out, God forbid, that he returned to spiritual realm prematurely, or that he chose a soulmate or a karmic connection and moved to another country and got married and is having children, it wouldn't change anything, because now you understand, you're detached, and now you understand, thank you, my love, for activating me. You will always be in my heart. I will always be connected to you, and I hope you have an amazing life, because life is a gift. I'm going to see you in another one. The time we shed these bodies, we're going to be like sucked in back together, because that's what happens with the objects of the same frequency. It's the bodies that are keeping us away, right? That's why in order to get into union, you have to release the body, release the ego, so your souls can truly merge. But this is when you truly detach. You could see him on the street with another woman. You could hear news that he is having a child with someone. And perhaps there would be a little bit sadness. Again, we live this human experience. We're a human being. But in the end, you would be, whatever, you're my love. Our love is forever. This lifetime, fine, do whatever you choose. I hope you're happy. I really hope you're happy, right? But it's not changing who you are. It's not changing your decision. It's not changing your physical existence, okay? So we're really wanting in this journey of moving from attachment to connection and detaching, we really want to create this strong woman. Imagine, again, go back to those love movies and those movies where I understand my counterpart, my masculine, is a warrior. He has to embark on a quest. Perhaps I'm not going to see him for many years. Perhaps I'm not going to know what's going on with him for many years. But I will be here, holding space for him. I will be here praying for him. I will be here sending him love. I will be here taking care of our home, our garden. I'm not going to be whining that he's not with me. I'm not going to be whining that he's not showing me his love. I'm not going to be whining that if he's not showing me love and he's not here, I'm going to go ahead and find myself a soulmate. Because I believe in this connection. I trust in our love. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand? Um, it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, right? But it is possible. You just really need to understand what it really means. Not just to connect, but also understand attachment and codependency, right? This is why we always say to really know that coin, you have to see two sides. To really work with something, to really work with certain frequency, you're going to have to understand both sides. This is why we say to break the matrix, they're going to have to really embrace the matrix. Us, to heal souls, we really have to understand human soul. So in order to really, really, really detach, not just from him, but anything physical, you really need to understand what does it mean detachment, what does it mean codependency, what does it mean connection, and very important thing, what does it mean strong divine feminine. Because if you are and you're a strong divine feminine and you embody full all the qualities of the divine feminine, you're not going to be attached. You're not going to be looking for external validation. You're not going to be searching and trying to date and meet soulmates because he's not on schedule. Right? So you really have to understand these concepts. So I hope I explained this in a way that it makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the comments. And what I want to move to now is a label, because that's also an important topic. Okay, so let's talk about labels, because we don't only have to detach, but we have to release the label. And that's another topic that not just for divine feminine is very important for anyone. What does it really mean to release the label? Let's go back to what I said to you in the beginning. We are souls, right? Living a human experience. So obviously we need language to communicate in this physical world. So we as humans, we love to give things names, right? Avoidant, attachment, introvert, extrovert, feminine, masculine, karmic, twin, soulmate, yada, yada, yada. Now, there's a reason to that, because it actually helps us to understand certain concepts, right? And imagine that we don't have a word connection. And every time you want to explain connection to someone, you're going to explain all the things that I've said, like, right? Even energetically. So it makes it easier. It not only enables communication, but it also helps us to understand. So whenever we have like new concepts, like language is an alive creature, right? If you think about this, we move through times and we create new concepts, new traditions, new things that we do as humans, and we create new names for these things because it's just easier. And it's also helping us to understand, right? So let's say we create a label, again, avoidant attachment, runner chaser, to understand what does it mean, right? So we know that avoidant is someone who has deep fear of vulnerability, of commitment, created in childhood, and now they're basically avoiding situations, they're avoiding feelings, they're avoiding confrontations. They have this runner energy. Whenever they feel distress, instead of facing something, they're running away, right? So we create that, and until a certain extent, it's good because it helps us to understand what it really means. But it carries two risks. One is that we haven't really defined it well enough, and it creates a lot of confusion, okay? And another risk is that, again, going back to what we previously said, we're going to attach to that and we won't let it go. So what I mean by that, let's take twin flame. Twin flame is something that isn't really that well defined. There's still a lot of people who misunderstands that concept. It is relatively new, but twins, we have been here since forever, right? But the word, the concept is relatively new if you think about this. They probably didn't call it twin flames in ancient Egypt, right? But the love was same. The love was real, right? The emotion between these two people was same. So it's not that well defined right now. It's not that well understood. When we say twin flame, people can understand it differently. It's not like I'm saying Spain, and you know what I mean. You know, it's a country in Southern Europe. You know where it is. Probably, I would hope so. And do you know what I mean? Right? Or when we say the moon, there's no, like, we know what I mean. We know what you mean, right? But when we say twin flames, certain topics, certain terms are not that well defined. It can mean something else to me, it can mean something else to you if you have misconception of that term, right? So using it loosely, it may create a lot of confusion. And even if you think about attachment, connection, so many people understand it differently, because not all concepts, not all names are crystal clear, right? So there's always an element of confusion. And that other risk is attachment, is that if you put an incorrect label to something, you're going to attach yourself to it and you won't let it go. And on this journey, this is why I always say to you that, runner chaser is just an illusion, and don't put that label on your twin, because you can keep saying that he's running, but I've explained this to you in many previous videos. It's just an illusion. When he's running, you're actually running from something too, just not in the physical, right? But if you attach that he's a runner, you're going to constantly put the blame on him, that we're not together because he's running. He has to stop running, right? So what we mean when we say you have to release the label is that forget about it. Forget about that he's your twin. Forget about that he's avoidant. Forget about that you're anxious, because in reality, we all carry elements of all these things, right? And just focus on the matter at hand. Focus on the energy. Focus on the issue. Focus on what you want to fix, what behaviors. It doesn't matter. And it's such an important concept of releasing that label, because it can really create false identities that link us to the 3D. Because remember what I said, we didn't have these terms in the past. If you think about Middle Ages and you would live a lifetime with your twin, your love would be same. Your connection would be same, because it comes from a place of soul. It comes from a place of heart. It comes from a place of frequency. But we would probably define it differently. We wouldn't call it that way. They didn't have understandings of anxious and avoidance, right? But it was same. The behaviors were same. So sometimes the label can help us, but sometimes the label can put certain ideas, because let's say you really want to understand, he's anxious, avoidant, right? So you really want to understand, you're going to go ahead and start reading about this and exploring this topic, and you're going to find some information that's not necessarily going to prove to him. So don't attach to the terms, again, it's a limitation of 3D world that can create false identity that you will put on someone. And it will be hard to let go, especially when they change, right? Especially when we evolve. So in reality, it's this theory of, there should be nothing after I am. Again, sometimes in this world, in this physical world, it's easier for us when we talk about ourselves. I am a psychic medium. I am a divine feminine, right? I am a woman. But in reality, we're just awareness. And this journey is about returning home, releasing the ego, understanding the meaning of life. So you need to understand that we are just awareness. We're not living that life. We are observing this life through awareness, right? So if you attach too much to these labels, you are sort of creating that prison for yourself, and you're limiting yourself. Because if you're attached to twin flame, divine feminine, avoidant, runner, chaser, it doesn't mean these terms are not true, but they're keeping you subconsciously in prison of what they actually mean. So it's important to release that label. Forget about that he's your twin flame, right? Obviously, when you are someone who part of your path was to talk about this, right? So, like, for example, for myself, if I want to do readings, I would often talk about this. I would often mention the firm so people know what journey I'm helping them to overcome. But for example, if you are a divine feminine and your journey is not related to being a spiritual teacher, it's something completely different, stop thinking about him as your twin flame. It's your love. It's the other half of your soul. Again, these are words too, but let that go. This is why if you have twins in union, many twins in union, they don't go out there and then like, hi, we're twin flames. Hi, we're twin flames in union. Hi, we've made it. They don't announce it. They don't wear that label because it doesn't matter. It's love. Yes, you're going to see some twin flames in union who have a platform and they're vocal about, because they're spiritual teachers, because this is part of their journey, this is part of their existence. But all the other twins in union, they're not going to go ahead and announce it. It's not like our family is going to know about it. It's love. We're just together, we're a couple, this is my partner. So let that go. It doesn't matter, because you're attaching to that, and you're attaching to expectations of this journey, including union, right? So you're forcing something that might have its own course. Every journey is individual, and putting labels create mentality of comparison as well, right? So I'm going to give you an example, and it's especially dangerous when you put on an incorrect label. So think about people who are actually in karmic connections, but they think that they're in a twin flame journey. And I talk about this all the time. 95% of people who know what twin flame is and they think that they know their twin flame, they're actually connected to a karmic because of misconception, because of improper explanation of that term, that label. So if you think that this is your twin flame and you're going to attach to that, you're going to keep yourself stuck in a loop. You're going to constantly thinking that, oh my God, I have to suffer, I have to this, I have to that, this has to happen, and that didn't happen yet because this is my twin, so it has to happen. This is part of the journey because this is my twin. It doesn't matter. It's just your love. You're supposed to embody unconditional love on this journey. It doesn't matter. At one point, it doesn't matter. You call it twin flame. People used to call it soulmates. People used to think that you have only one soulmate, and that soulmate is that other half of your soul. You remember that story that, that one soul was like dropped to earth and was like split into two, and they wandering around and looking for each other, and that's what people would used to call soulmates. Now we know that you have a variety of soulmates, and it's not what it is. The other half of your soul, it's actually your twin flame, and it's a very rare thing to happen because how powerful it is, right? But if you attach yourself to that and it's a bad label, you're going to keep yourself imprisoned. You always have to be open-minded. In the end, it doesn't matter. It's just another soul that you love because their frequency is same as yours. It doesn't matter how you call it, right? And in the same time, as you release that label, you have to release their face. You have to release their face. And it's part of the detachment. And it sounds really weird, right? So when I said it, you might not be ready on a stage of the journey when you're ready to accept that. But if you think about this, this is a soul that is that's the other half of your soul. Exact same frequency. One chakra system, one consciousness. And you've lived a variety of lifetimes together. He didn't look how he looks now, always, because his soul doesn't have a physical body. So when you think of him, don't think Don't imagine his face and think this is my twin flame, right? And his face. Just think about the energy. The energy, right? The his essence, his existence. This is what pulls you in. This is what is of the same frequency. This is how we truly embody that unconditional love. Twin flame, his face of now, it's something that belongs to the moment of now. And I find that, past lifetime can be very helpful, exploring past lifetimes. Sometimes when you embark on a journey to remember past lifetime, sometimes you don't see a different face attached to your twin, right? Oftentimes you feel the energy. It's like, it was him. This is a lifetime that you shared, but he didn't look like he looks now, but you also cannot recall his face. Sometimes you actually will remember how he looked like and how you looked like. But it helps you to understand that what you truly love is not his body, but it's his existence, it's his essence, it's his soul. And you will recognize that soul always. Any lifetime, any scenario, any times on earth, whether they would call it that way or not, it doesn't matter. So let that go. Let that go. It doesn't mean it's not true, right? But train yourself to stop thinking, he's my twin. He is who he is, right? It's the other half of my soul. That's it. I'm gonna stop rambling now. I think I've said everything that I wanted to say, and I don't want to kind of go in circles, because if you know me, I tend to do that. I love to talk. I'm all about blah 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 blah. We both share that quality with the other half of my soul. So I hope it was helpful. I hope I really try to get into the frequency, try to get into the vibration of connection, of unconditional love, of where energy, instead of physical world that is filled with wanting to define things, label things, describe things, attach to things, have proof for something, tangible evidence of something. It doesn't matter. Your love is above everything, right? So hold on to that, and remember, detachment isn't about not thinking about him, not loving him, not feeling him with you every day. It's about releasing the physical aspect, which means releasing the how and the when your union's going to happen, and releasing codependency between two of your existences. Because you are the divine feminine. You're supposed to be forever connected to the divine. And the masculine leads the way in the 3D. So he will decide the how and the when he is ready for union. Okay? And he will know. The divine will not allow him to miss that moment. When you are ready, when divine feels you're ready, he will send a signal to your masculine. And he will go through Satori awakening. And he will feel the incredible pull in the physical, just like the pull that you feel in a spiritual, on a level of a soul, that longing towards him, his presence, that frequency of the soul. He will feel that pull on a physical level, and he will return home. But it will never happen as long as you are trying to control the physical. And attachment is a form of controlling the physical and having expectations on the physical. I hope this was helpful. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. All my details are in the description box. If you would like to connect to me or book in for a session, I invite you to follow me on TikTok, where I have more content and I post daily both stories and collective readings, and also content about spirituality and twin flames. I will be coming in tomorrow for, I don't want to say last masterclass, but there's one more topic that I wanna post, and it's going to be 12 episodes. So we're gonna have 12 episodes of that twin flame divine feminine masterclass. And the reason I say last, I think last for now, because I sort of had a download when I started doing these episodes. So Spirit pushed me to do that, and I basically sat down and I wrote down 12 topics. And I knew what it's supposed to be, right? Everything happens for a reason. 12 is a very magical number. So if something comes to me, I will talk about this. And I will jump on here and pop on and create more content. If there's any topic that you want me to talk about, by all means, leave them in the comments or drop me a message on Instagram. But for now, Spirit is done. I am still on the fence with sacral sexuality, lust and passion, very important topic for the masculines, but I'm on a fence. So yeah, that's it for today. I love you so incredibly much. You're doing amazing. This journey is a gift, and I will see you tomorrow.